Hello and welcome to the very first Belfast Programme Podcast. I am Alan Hall and with me today is Arthur McKeown, who started the Belfast Programme. Tonight we will be talking about what it is, what it has done, where it does it, what BURC is and what we hope to do in the future. So Arthur, could you please give us a brief history on the Belfast Programme and how it started?
Hi Alan. The Belfast Programme helps adult foreign nationals in Belfast and beyond to develop the communication skills and confidence in using English that they'll need and that will help them get a job or a better job or promotion. In this way, we can unlock their capabilities, their qualifications and experience, and we can contribute to increasing social cohesion among different communities now living in Belfast, especially when people want to make a successful transition to living in the city and in Northern Ireland. And that's where we got our name, Building English Language for a Successful Transition. In an earlier life, I worked for nigh on 20 years in the world of English language teaching as a teacher trainer and centre manager on 3 different continents. And then I worked for 20 years teaching management at the University of Ulster. One Friday afternoon, I used as a case study the example of some work that had been done for the university to improve the employability of mainly Polish, Latvian and Lithuanian people in County Cavan. Several members of the class challenged me in the pleasantest way possible to practice what I had been preaching, saying that there was a group of foreign nationals in Belfast who needed a similar programme. A pilot was run over a year ago at the Belfast Unemployed Resource Centre in Donegal Street, and we've been running ever since.
And so what is BURC then?
Alan, BURC is the Belfast Unemployed Resource Centre. It began over 30 years ago to support people who need help as they seek to gain employment or change career direction. The organisation now provides programmes and support for families and groups throughout the city and indeed the north of Ireland. It's recently been successful in getting big lottery funding for a range of new developments, as well as continuing its cross-border EURES work. A key point that people should know about the Belfast Programme at BURC is that it is not a language school. Rather, we're looking for innovative ways of making career-enhancing English language support available for people who can make a significant contribution to the local community within which we are all living.
So what has the Belfast Programme done so far?
Our flagship programme continues to be the meetups that are provided for 2 hours on Thursday evenings to support English for employability. 12 and more foreign nationals attend regularly, but people come and go. They arrive and then move on, depending on the speed with which they are able to access part-time or full-time work, or if they have to work erratic shift patterns. During these sessions, we provide people with opportunities to understand the job hunting process in Belfast, the nature of the preparation and paperwork required for a job application, and to practice interview questions and the techniques they will need that will help them to apply for jobs. But there's more. Soon after the meetup started, we began a number of programs to provide English for beginners. In particular, there's been an opportunity to provide Entry 0 English language programmes for absolute beginners at the Belfast Islamic Centre in Wellington Park and here in Donegal Street. This includes a programme for about 20 of the recently arrived Syrians who are now living in Belfast. And a number of the participants on these programmes have now been able to progress to Entry 1 beginner courses provided at Belfast Metropolitan College.
So can you tell everyone about the team behind the Belfast programme?
Well, the team is a very valuable part of the whole programme. At any one time, we depend heavily on a dozen or so Belfast volunteers who are each able to contribute in a variety of different ways to the various programmes on offer. And we make innovative use of WhatsApp to communicate among the small teams of volunteers who work with each of the groups. Some of the people who volunteer with us are thinking about training as English language teachers, possibly with the idea that they will move abroad for work and career development. Others have already completed such training and they're now waiting for the visas and the vaccinations required before heading to employment in Venezuela or Vietnam. And while they're waiting, they can widen their experience and continue to practice key teaching skills, as well as getting some help and support from fellow volunteers as they get ready to depart. Indeed, we now have a world map on which we have the names and profiles of more than a dozen people who've contributed as Belfast volunteers in various ways. 2 are working in Mexico, several are in Japan, one's in Sweden, several are in Spain, and others in Hong Kong, Vietnam, Galway, and Belfast. As well as helping foreign nationals in Belfast, though, we're also enhancing the employability of such people who volunteer by ensuring that they're able to get a job that is well suited to their qualifications, their skills and experience, so that they make a well-informed career decision that helps them get a good job more quickly. So, Alan, we're constantly in need of volunteers who can support the Belfast programme's administration and promotional activities, and we particularly welcome individuals with skills, qualifications, experience, networks and so on that can complement what we're already doing or could develop further.
So speaking of the future, what do we hope to do in the future?
The Belfast programme is going through an exciting period of growth and development. In the next few months, Alan, there are opportunities to get more settled in the premises we now occupy in the city centre in Donegal Street. And we want to increase the availability there of the resources that are available for private study in the Self-Access Centre. We also have plans to network extensively with other organisations that share our interest in making Belfast a more welcoming place. We want to continue much of the work that is already started to develop it further. Especially as we grow in confidence, we want to increase the number of meetups available on different days of the week and at different times of the day to suit different groups of learners. We've also recognised an opportunity to help individuals who have an interest in finding employment in different broad sectors of the economy, so that we can provide support, for example, for those who seek employment in hotels and hospitality and restaurants, or in hospitals and nursing homes and the care sector, and in various forms of engineering and manufacturing industry. We also have the intention of developing our use of personal learning plans for each individual learner so that they have a structured programme of work on English grammar and vocabulary, as well as sector-specific language skills that will help them in their job hunting. And finally, there are, of course, huge opportunities to make much more use of social media to promote the various programs on offer and to make learning resources available to those who are unable to attend face-to-face sessions in Donegal Street or elsewhere.
And so after this podcast, what magic awaits the listeners in the future?
Lots of magic. We've come a long way in the past year, and we have every intention of seizing with enthusiasm the opportunities and overcoming the challenges that doubtless lie ahead in the next year.
Well, that's all for today's podcast. Thank you very much, Arthur.
Good night, and thank you.
Arthur and myself will be around for more podcasts on different topics in the near future, so please stay tuned. As this is our first podcast, we would love to hear from you on what you would like to hear. We do plan multiple different topic podcasts, but let's find out what you want to hear as well. So it is good night from him, and it is a good night from me.
Good night.